everybody. I am very excited to be back to offer my favorite futures bets heading into this NFL season. I'm very excited for football to start, and I am excited to discuss some of these bets and talk about my plan going forward for the football season in terms of my videos. So, real quick, it seems like a lifetime ago at this point, but I want to touch on the British Open. That was profitable for me thanks to Jon Rahm coming in the top 5, and that concluded my betting on golf for the season. I typically only bet on the major championships, and that was the last one. And in 3 out of the 4 majors, I was profitable. Not hugely, only one of my 3 British Open bets hit, but it was enough to come out in the black. And I came out a little bit in the black on the whole season. So hopefully that will be some good momentum to carry into football. I'm going to give out 7 plays that I like. One thing to remember as I talk about these is I'm going for value, not necessarily what I think is most likely to happen, but what I think offers the best algorithm, if you will, of payout and likelihood. And I'm going to do a few half-unit plays, a few one-unit plays, and a few 2-unit plays, or a couple of some of those, I suppose, and a few of others. So let's jump right in. My first half-unit bet is most receiving touchdowns in the regular season, and I'm going to bet a half unit on Calvin Ridley at plus 3,000. He is coming back after being suspended for a year for gambling, ironically. He's on the Jaguars now. I think the Jaguars are posed to have a really solid year. I think this could be a breakout year for Trevor Lawrence. And I think at plus 3,000, it's worth a play on Calvin Ridley to come back from his year away with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, with something to prove, and potentially a lot of touchdowns. So, bet 1 half-unit play on Calvin Ridley, most receiving touchdowns, plus 3,000. My second play for a half unit is on the LA Rams to win the division. Now, this is plus 1,000. Not many people think this is going to happen. And again, gun to my head, to use that dark analogy, I think I would probably pick either the Seahawks or the 49ers. But I think the Seahawks could revert a little bit this year. I think Geno Smith could have been a flash in the pan. And the 49ers quarterback situation is way up in the air. Brock Purdy still coming back from that elbow injury. Trey Lance has looked shaky in camp. I just don't think they're going to be the real contenders that so many people seem to think they could be. And you look at the Rams, and Matthew Stafford is coming back. He was out a lot of last year with an injury. Early reports in camp are that he looks pretty good. Cooper Kupp will hopefully be healthy at least to start the season, and fingers crossed if he can stay healthy. Sean McVay is still one of the top coaches in the league. He's been to a Super Bowl. I think there's good value in the Rams at plus 1,000 to win the division. I think they could surprise a lot of people this year. And if it's one of those divisions where every team is hovering around, 9-8, 10-7, there's a chance the Rams could squeak this out. So that is my second half-unit play at plus 1,000. Moving into my one-unit plays, I'm going to bet on Kenny Pickett to throw the most interceptions this season. Apologies to any Steelers fans out there, and I promise this is not just because he has the word pick in his name. I think he looked a little bit shaky last year. I know he was just a rookie, and he might have shown a little bit of promise as well, but a lot of rookies, or I should say second-year quarterbacks, come off a rookie year that was somewhat promising and look a little shaky in their second year. Pickett should get the starting job without much competition this year. I think he's pretty much the consensus starter. And I think it would take a lot for them to move away from him. I think they're going to give him the reins and let him sling it. And I think this could mean a lot of interceptions for a quarterback that's still young. And, again, plus 1,500, there's value there, 15-1 odds. It's not necessarily the quarterbacks, to Kenny Pickett's credit, it's not necessarily the quarterbacks that are the worst who throw the most picks. I'm pretty sure last year it was Dak Prescott and I think maybe Derek Carr who tied for most interceptions. I actually bet on Josh Allen in this category last year, and he was only, I think, one away from having the most interceptions. So it's not necessarily saying I think he's the worst quarterback in the league. I just think this is a spot where he has the potential to throw a good amount of picks, and I like the value at plus 1,500. My next bet, my next one-unit bet is Justin Fields to win MVP. Now, I've seen some chatter on social media over the last few weeks, sort of mocking this notion that he's going to have a good year. I disagree. I think you look at what he did last year, he showed a lot of promise. I think the Bears got some more pieces this year. I think he has the potential to put up certainly a lot of rushing yards, and I think his share of passing yards as well. I think he's certainly a good fantasy option for those of you out there who play fantasy football. And I think at plus 2,200, it's not a bad pick to say that he could be a contender for MVP. I think, that division could be pretty tough. The Vikings are still going to be pretty good like they were last year. A lot of people have the Lions as contenders this year. And I think Jordan Love has shown a little promise for the Packers. So I'm not even necessarily predicting that the Bears will be a fantastic team, but all the more reason I think they will lean on Justin Fields to make big plays for them. And I could see this being similar to the year Lamar Jackson won the MVP for the Ravens. I think they're similar types of players in terms of their style of play. And again, looking at value, this is the number and the player that jumped out at me. So 1 unit, Justin Fields, plus 2,200 to win the MVP. And my last 1 unit play is my Super Bowl prediction. It's a parlay. I like the Philadelphia Eagles to win the NFC again, and the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the AFC. And this pays plus 5,500. Again, if I had to bet my life savings, to use a slightly less dark allegory, metaphor, analogy, whatever it is, if I had to bet my life savings, I would probably bet on the Chiefs or the Bengals. But I think the Jaguars looked like toward the end of last season they were really starting to click. I think Trevor Lawrence looks like a top-tier NFL quarterback. And at plus 1,300, I think they've got a good shot to break through and come out of the AFC this year. And on the NFC side, I just could not see anybody who I thought was going to take down the Eagles. I tried to talk myself into a couple teams. I already stated my concerns about the 49ers. The Giants were a surprise last year. Maybe Daniel Jones takes another step forward. Maybe one of those NFC North teams can break through. Is this the year for the Lions finally? I don't know. But I just think in the end, Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the conference. I think the Eagles are going to get back there. And at plus 5,500, I'm going to put a unit down on them to face the Jaguars in the Super Bowl. Eagles, Jaguars. And finally, moving in to my 2-unit plays. The 2 plays I'm going to put the most on going into the season. First off, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over 6.5 wins. Now, I know Tom Brady is retired, and they honestly didn't even look that strong with Tom Brady last year. So, 6.5 wins might even seem generous to a lot of people. I think Baker Mayfield is going to come in with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. This team still has some talent lingering around, and the division is just not really that impressive. You've got Derek Carr coming to the Saints. You've got Bryce Young on the Panthers. The Falcons, some people think could win the division. I don't know. I just don't think the Buccaneers are looking at a very tough road. I'm not even saying they're going to win the division or make the playoffs. playoffs. I just think they're going to win at least 7 games this year. And at plus 115, I'm going to put down a couple units on that. I think we're going to see Baker Mayfield, who a lot of people have written off as a washed up journeyman at this point. I think he could have maybe a Geno Smith type year and surprise a lot of people and take the Bucs to a more respectable season. Or the alternative is Kyle Trask, the young quarterback, shines in preseason or early in the regular season and ends up taking the job. And in which case, maybe he'll be a breakout player who can lead the team to a surprisingly good year. So I'm going for this Buccaneers over 6.5 wins this season. And my final 2-unit bet, my final futures bet for the NFL this year is the New England Patriots to make the playoffs at plus 275. They had a disappointing year last year, going 8-9. Mac Jones regressed a little bit in his second year. But I think they've made a couple good signings this year. They got Juju Smith-Schuster. Mike Gesicki gives them a little depth at tight end. Their defense is arguably one of the best in the league. And I look around at that division. A lot of people think the AFC champ could come out of the AFC East. I'm less confident in that. I think Aaron Rodgers with the Jets is a big wild card. He is turning 40 this year, and he's looked a little shaky the last couple of years in Green Bay. I'm not convinced that'll work out. Tua Tagovailoa is coming off a couple severe concussions. I'm just not convinced he'll stay healthy the whole year for Miami. And it seems like the window is closing for the Bills. I think there's been a little bit of off-season drama with Josh Allen. His relationship with Stephon Diggs is shaky. And as that pertains to the Patriots, I think, they could steal a couple wins in the division. I think they could surprise people this year. And I think they will squeeze into the playoffs. Again, I'm not going to bet on them to win the division, although I'm pretty sure the odds on that are like plus 800, and as a dark horse candidate, I don't think that's a terrible bet. If things go south for the other teams, like I mentioned, I actually think the Patriots have a shot to sneak into the first place in the division by the end of the year. But I'm just going to bet at plus 275 on them to make the playoffs. I think perhaps Bill Belichick has lost a step or two in his later years, but I just sort of refuse to believe he's going to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. So that concludes my NFL futures picks. I'm very excited to get back to doing NFL videos this year. I've been thinking about if I'm going to do things exactly as I did last year, and I may mix it up a little bit. I might focus more on 1 or 2 plays that I really like and give a more detailed explanation of why I like those plays, rather than going through each and every game and talking about every spread and every money line. I may also, week by week, check in on some of my futures bets, and also just give more overall thoughts of how I think the league is trending week by week. I know there are a couple weeks I will likely be pretty busy and potentially unable to make a video, and I have some other content ideas that I could potentially record in advance and release those weeks. So stay tuned for that. I hope everyone's having a good summer. Thanks as always for liking and subscribing and for staying tuned to my channel, even as I've been posting kind of sparingly over the last couple months. I really appreciate the support, and best of luck to anyone who decides to tail any of these picks. And feel free to drop me a comment with any reactions to these picks. If you agree with me or you think I'm a total idiot, feel free to let me know. So, thanks for listening, and you will hear from me soon. Bye-bye.